if he is the original sponsor of the Flower of Life in this reality. He continually appears in our midst and speaks to many of us personally, including some who are mentioned in this dedication. When I picked up the pen to write this dedication, I originally intended to start somewhere else, but Lord Michael came through with this very sincere message of his sponsorship. Thank you, Archangel Michael. As I prepared to update this classic for its 12th year anniversary edition, I realized I had dressed wearing the beautiful royal blue we associate with Archangel Michael. Without a doubt, his presence is found throughout this update as well. The dedication in the original 2009 edition included Flower of Life, full facilitators, and the full research organization who are still my heroes. They created the network of amazing individuals who brought the original Flower of Life material to life, including, of course, Drunvalo Melchizedek. However, they are no longer the only wellspring of this body of knowledge, which now further focuses on Michael. As my understanding has evolved over time, I have come to know this body of knowledge to be a meditator's guide to higher awareness. Special thanks to my editor, Megan McLean, at Inner Traditions, who understood what I hope to communicate, and thanks also to their wonderful team. Last but not least, this book is also dedicated to all the readers who wish to grow their meditation practices and finally have an accurate and clear connection to their higher selves. Thank you all. You each have played a significant part in spreading this gift around the world. Beyond the Flower of Life. Beyond the Flower of Life gives Maureen Street Germain's unique practical mystic perspective on a number of wonders of the New Age. She shares the wisdom and joys that she and her students experience by doing the spiritual work outlined in this book. This new release is updated for a new generation of seekers. Danian Brinkley, New York Times best-selling author of Saved by the Light and co-author OFAT Peace in the Light. Maureen, with the counsel of the Archangel Michael, has your highest good in mind in offering this new and updated edition for a new generation. Her goal is to assist you to jump-start your own spiritual renaissance. Maureen provides an easy and accurate way to connect with your higher self and improve your connection to the divine. At a challenging time in our evolution, we need this counsel more than ever. Sherilyn Hidalgo, author OFCELTIC Tree Rituals, The Healing Power of Trees, Celtic Tree Oracle, and NAZMY. Love is My Religion. Beyond the Flower of Life will open your mind and experiences. Bernie Siegel, MD, author OFNO Endings, Only Beginnings and 3 Men 6 Lives. Maureen's love, skill, and experiences in her spirituality have led her to travel this planet and touch the lives of thousands of students. Her approach to integrating a spiritual life with the physical world has provided many tools to uplift consciousness while grounding practical principles of spirituality in the here and now. Maureen's dedication, adventure, and enthusiasm fill Beyond the Flower of Life. Ronald L. Holt, co-founder of Seed of Life INSTITUTEAND, creator of Quantum Navigation. I highly recommend this book to anyone at any level. Lynn Andrews, New York TIMESBESTSELLINGAUTHOR of the Medicine Woman series. This special edition of Beyond the Flower of Life has been revised and updated to bring this classic to a new generation and clarify many questions. Whether you are a Merkaba meditator, curious about the Merkaba, or are just looking to improve your spiritual practices, you will benefit from this book. Bob Frissell, author of the 25th ANNIVERSARYEDITIONOFNOTHING, in this book is true, but it's exactly how things are. Beyond the Flower of Life is a roadmap to the new enlightenments that are and will be defining the next human evolutionary trajectory that is happening at this very moment. Maureen J. St. Germain has pre-paved the future into the only place of real power, the now, and clearly shows us the layering of invisible energies. Take a ride into the worlds of immeasurable connections and unnameable infinity and truly open up the bridge between human information, factual knowledge, and the amazing intimacy of the eternal cosmos now. Harrison Klein, award-winning personal growth TRANSFORMATIONALIST and wealth and business growth consultant. Maureen St. Germain has done it again. Complete with exercises to help you advance your spiritual practices, I encourage you to read this updated edition. The information is very timely, and you'll likely deepen your practices, further advance your soul, and maintain an open heart. Margaret M. Peg Donahue, founder of Feng Shui Connections and co-author of Money is an Energy Game. Maureen has hit it out of the park once again. The new edition of Beyond the Flower of Life assists readers, both novices and adepts alike, to truly grow their meditation practices and have an accurate and clear connection and unification to and with their higher selves. This book will also truly assist you to deepen and expand your gifts to humanity, and you will love the tips and practices included. Lori Ann Spagna, author OFMANIFESTATION Made Easy. Maureen provides many tools that anyone can use to uplift their consciousness while grounding their spirituality in the here and now. Her dedication and enthusiasm is infused throughout this updated edition, meant for a new generation of seekers ready for their next step. Lisa Royal Holt, seminar leader, channel, and author of Galactic Heritage Cards in the Golden Lake. Contents: cover image, title page, dedication, epigraph, prologue, Chapter 1, History of the Merkaba and important notes for your practice. My Merkaba story. What is the history of Merkaba and what are its origins? Historical data. Why was a combination of methods chosen from Hindu, Egyptian, Hebrew, Tibetan, and other traditions for the original 17-breath meditation? Out of the hundreds of mudras, how and why were these chosen? How will you know if your Merkaba is permanent? Purple cones coming off the Merkaba. My request to you. Breath 18. Step by step. Drugs and other stimulants, some very important information. Changing the Merkaba meditation. What about the violet flame? Can you travel in the Merkaba? A new source of information and a guide appears. Who should teach the Merkaba? Why participate in the Merkaba training? Chapter 2. New tools for learning and practicing unconditional love, daily practice and opening your heart. Working with the Hathors. The Phoenix cards. Expect a blow to the heart. A blow to the heart. Ascension rocket fuel. The other person might not own her part. Bliss after a blow. Why doesn't Merkaba protect me from a blow to the heart? Chapter 3. Toning, chants, and exercises to open your heart. Toning. Hather chant. El Ka-Lim Om. The 4 lower bodies. Toning to clear the pranic tube. Hebrew chant. Additional powerful chants. Chanting is timeless. Chanting in the King's Chamber. How does chanting affect your ascension work? Chapter 4. Initiating contact with your higher self. What is the higher self? What is the higher self connection? What's stopping me? Extras hold the polarity reality. Ask for what you need. How will you know you are on target? The lower self. How do you distinguish your higher self from lower self? What about intuition? Angels and guides. Your higher self is proactive. There is no number. Advance awareness. Higher self in 9/11. Invocations. Higher self to higher self in the emergency room. Higher self and family matters. What is a signal from the higher self? How do I know I'm getting a real signal? What if I don't get yes and no symbols or signals? What about neutral? Examples of symbols or signals. Help, I'm not getting anything. When do I ask my higher self these questions? How do I actually do this? Fuzzy information. What is going on? It is about free will. Communication in both directions. Chapter 5. Keeping your higher self. Connection commitment time. What kinds of questions will you ask during your practice period? Ask questions about actions you are willing to complete. Why is my ego eliminated in this equation? Full integration of the higher self. Belief. Forget keeping score. I ask my higher self a question but I never get an answer. How do you achieve proficiency? No exceptions. Learning the language of non-judgment. Neutral response. What is next after a neutral response? Open-ended questions are for after your practice period. Developing mastery with certain kinds of questions. The logical reason for following your higher self. Learning the difference between third dimension and fifth dimension. Missing objects. Start asking your higher self how much you are loved. Advanced questions after your practice period is complete. Chapter 6. Programming your Merkaba. Programming your Merkaba. The Merkaba is alive. Careful now. Can the Merkaba be used for protection? Higher self is proactive, not protective. How is Merkaba useful? Programming the Merkaba. Not God choice in the free will third dimension. What could go wrong? Impact of your sexual partner. The impact of drugs. What about the first time with a new sex partner? Can programming be dangerous? Steps to programming. 2 basic principles must be applied: intention and attention. Stay in alignment. 4 types of programming. General rules. The 7 basic programs. Programs you forgot about. Programs you can create. Programs work. What is a startup group and how do you use it? How do you properly and fully take down a single program? How do you clear all programs at once? Is there a way to know what programs are currently running? Is there a way to know if a program is running that you did not initiate? Lessons when taking an initiation. The weakest link. Relief now. My favorite programs. Chapter 7. Black helicopters. This is real. Who are they? What are the black helicopters doing? The black helicopter phenomenon. Where do they look for Merkaba fields? Sightings of black helicopters. Time travel and the black helicopters. How did I know it was about time travel? Chapter 8. Surrogate Merkaba. Both useful and destructive. What is a surrogate? Usefulness of surrogates. 5th dimensional privileges. When is a surrogate destructive? The rare exception. Another destructive surrogate Merkaba. A surrogate Merkaba is not for protection. The Merkaba is not like white light. Should you even consider surrogates? Chapter 9. Merkaba permanence and paranormal validation. Paranormal external validation of the Merkaba. Remember and repair. Is my Merkaba permanent? What happens next? Higher self solutions and surprises. How do I make the Merkaba permanent? Beyond higher self communication. Feeling body. Heart knowing. A permanent Merkaba. Chapter 10. Clearing fear with dolphins, whales, and arrow mandalas. Multidimensional dolphin adventures. Dolphins clear fear. Using fear to fuel your ascension work. Fear and worry. A rigged test. Survival psychics. Fear and its misuses. Fear of shame. Emotional wounds. Weather windows. Holographic communication. History and its importance. What are the dolphins doing? What about the whales? Chapter 11. Working with Earth's energy systems ley lines. Precognitive dreams and visions of dark energies. Jumping tracks. Begin with a simple statement of purpose. Gridworkers Union and dissolving fear of lack. My UN assignment. The hard grid. More device info. Gridwork key elements. Specialized grids. Chapter 12. Creating heaven on earth. What is heaven? Expansion and contraction of the universe. Humanity's reboot. Sight and vision. Orbs. Dimensions. First through third dimensions. My first day of heaven on earth. Fourth dimension. Recognizing fourth dimensional behavior. Moving to fifth dimension. Changing history. Freedom to remove the mask. Fifth dimension. First level of non-polarity. Sixth dimension. The first place you start to move toward group structure. Seventh dimension. Moving to group expression. Eighth dimension. Moving to group awareness. Ninth dimension. Collective consciousness. Napping during meditation. What is really going on and why? Upper creation realm. 10th through 12th dimensions. 13th dimension. Becoming multidimensional. Sleep and lack of ambition. Chapter 13. Christ Consciousness Grid. What is the origin of the Christ Consciousness Grid? What impact does that have on you? Power in the form of the Christ Consciousness Grid. Can you see it? Construction issues. More Middle East stress. Chapter 14. Maintaining balance and staying connected. The inner guru is your higher self. Time for celebration. Earth changes from Mother Earth. Higher self connection. Contracts with the universe. Advanced contracts. Default template. Sacred symmetry and contracts. Why do I keep forgetting important things? Multiple versions of the reality. Bridge of light. Memo from the Divine Mother. Michael's message on light and dark. Footnotes. Endnotes. Glossary. About the author. About inner traditions. Bear and Company. Books of related interest. Copyright and permissions. Index. Prologue. This book is intended for use as a supplement to your inner work, i.e., meditation practices, along with the Flower of Life Merkaba meditation, or geometric symbol of creation and unity, and with all of sacred geometry. The term Flower of Life has often been interchanged for the actual Merkaba meditation as well as the geometric shape. If you have been working with any sacred geometry books, including Merkaba knowledge, you may find this book a wonderful follow-up, but nothing will replace a Merkaba Classic Workshop, the original 17-breath meditation. The Merkaba meditation I teach, as given through Drunvalo Melchizedek, is one of the simplest available versions of the Merkaba. You can find it in a fully digitized format online at www.maureenstgermain.com. Give yourself this gift. You will thank me later. I have coded the book with guidance information so that you can access my knowledge base intuitively and spontaneously, without knowing why you understand it perfectly. This is a gift of spirit and I am honored to be the conduit. This information comes from a reservoir of knowledge collected over years of teaching, meditating, and communing with spirit. Please ask your higher self to step in and personally guide you through this process. You may also ask for a direct connection to my higher self for the purpose of clearly understanding the teaching being given through this book. It is my desire that you have the tools to maximize your effort and that it be for your highest good and my highest good. I already feel so much love for you. Thank you for joining me on this incredible adventure. The great theologian Thomas Aquinas used the writings of the notable Muslim philosopher Averroes to justify the clear separation of faith and reason, a Muslim ideal that formed the basis of modern scientific inquiry and led to the European Renaissance. May this knowledge inspire you to begin your own Renaissance. Author's note. Terms denoted with A have been explained in detail in the glossary at the back of the book. 1. History of the Merkaba and important notes for your practice. What you will learn in this chapter. My personal history with the Merkaba. History of the Merkaba. Little understood details about aspects of the Merkaba. Why you will want to learn the Merkaba. My Merkaba story. My initial encounter with the Merkaba was through my first spiritual teacher, Charlotte Alexander. 1. When I asked her about the Merkaba, she explained this unfamiliar concept as a kind of spaceship around the body. Back in 1982, we were not studying much about that in a spiritual context, but it seemed important, so I made note of it and set it aside. Then in 1994, I was at a Tay Kai class when I saw a notice on the bulletin board for an introductory class on the Merkaba. Wow. I was immediately interested. Unfortunately, my personal life was falling apart and I was preoccupied, so I promptly forgot it. Then I saw the same notice in a magazine and again later at a store. Enough. I immediately agreed, with spirit, to attend the class. At the intro class, one was stunned to find that everything I had ever been interested in and studied in my whole life was all rolled into one package. I had aced geometry in high school, and this was sacred geometry, and in college I had a perfect score on my final oral exam in astronomy. During the introductory evening, with the blessing of Jeff, the host facilitator, I was permitted to answer questions on these subjects that the host was not able to provide. I think I had some help from the unseen helpers. When someone asked what it would take to become a facilitator, his answer was, "We are not training anyone now. We want to make sure there are enough students for the teachers that have already been trained." He also noted that the teacher training with Drunvalo required taking the course a second time to complete certification. After I completed my first Merkaba series in December 1994, I immediately signed up for the class a second time. Jeff asked, "Why are you taking it again? Did you not get it?" Of course I had, so I gave some nondescript reason, not really wanting to listen to the same objections I had heard earlier, but he persisted with the questions. I told him, "It is my intent to become a facilitator and I know that the course must be taken twice." Again he said, "We are not training any more teachers." And my immediate response was, "That is your reality, I choose another." 6 months later I was trained and certified by Drunvalo himself. This was the last training Drunvalo personally taught on the 17-breath original Merkaba. The magic did not stop there. Drunvalo asked each of us to make a commitment at our certification ceremony. I promised at my graduation that I would reach millions of people with the Merkaba. Initially I had no idea why I said that or how it would be accomplished. I never thought I would eventually give up my full-time, well-paid corporate job to be a full-time spiritual teacher. I had the good fortune of having a job with a very generous 3-week vacation schedule. I used all my vacation time one day at a time to teach the Merkaba workshops in cities all over the country, traveling on Fridays to destinations, returning Sunday nights or early Monday mornings. This enabled me to step into my passion job, teaching the Merkaba. My corporate job was as a fundraiser for a small, local charity. My title was Development Director. I used the Merkaba to help me build the donor base. See Chapter 6, Programming Your Merkaba. And in 4 years I had increased the donor list by more than 100 times its original size. A year after I left, the new development director came to me and asked if I could explain why donor numbers fell by half after I departed. I did not give him a clear answer because I have a policy about sacred information. Unless you are in a class or training session with me, I require that you ask me twice before I release any spiritual knowledge. Usually the first time someone asks it's based on noticing you are different, but the person may not be ready to hear the answer. The second time shows there is serious interest. The first query is based on mental curiosity, but if there's a second, it indicates an open heart. After I left my position I used the Merkaba to help me get a job where I would be loved as much as I loved my employer. I was hired by a trade association as their manager of regulatory affairs, and that job fulfilled that desire of mine. I openly shared with them about my weekend seminar business and I was able to continue both jobs, yet I soon discovered I loved my seminars even more than the dream job. After about a year I realized I was being called to do the Merkaba work full-time, and I was able to leave my full-time job with severance pay and their blessing. Since then, I've spent more than 25 years traveling and teaching. I had already recorded the Merkaba CD while still employed and had committed to a national advertising campaign with the Sedona Journal of Emergence. I remember that very first directive from my higher self, to spend $250 a month to promote the workshops in the Sedona Journal. At the time it seemed a fortune. That first year I filled every weekend with workshops. I was so worried about making it financially that I thought if I had a workshop every weekend, that would ensure sufficient income. It did not always work out that way, and I have had a lot of support from family and friends to stay solvent. When I learned the Merkaba meditation back in 1994, we were not taught how to do the last 3 breaths that would activate the Merkaba. We were told, wait until you have permission from your higher self. However, there was no advice or training on what the higher self information would look like. In chapters 4 and 5 of this book you will find detailed instructions on how to develop a higher self connection that is accurate and reliable. My friend John Ammond, who took the class at the same time, called me once to ask if I'd gotten permission from my higher self to activate the Merkaba. Yes, I answered, because I was pretty sure I had permission. Did you activate? He asked. I replied, no. Why not? He demanded. I was pretty sure I had permission. I thought my higher self had said, yes, but I was not 100% sure. I did activate my Merkaba shortly after that. This was the aha moment and became one of my goals. How could I know for sure? What could I do to help myself know the higher self connection? What did it look like? What did it feel like? I am not a very visual person and was the last, in our class of 17 persons, to get the color exercises we did at the first Merkaba course. Later, as a teacher of this knowledge, I asked for and received direct guidance from Source on how to develop this connection, and spent 7 years perfecting the process. My goal was to build a library of tools for my students to help them identify and know with absolute certainty that their higher self-direction was real, provable, and authentic. In the pages of this book I will share these tools and give you specific examples and exercises to get you to a place of accuracy. What a relief to know you can do this. I was so mental in my own way that I felt there were many professionals like me who wanted proofs for sacred geometry, the special codes we used to activate the Merkaba, and more. The pages of this book contain those proofs. I am so grateful to be able to share this information with you. It has come through years of study and from thousands of students' feedback. Every one of them taught me something. In facilitating so many individuals, the knowledge just poured into my being. You, dear reader, will benefit from all those who have gone before you, and I appreciate them all. When I was growing up we had to spend hours at the library for school research. There was a catalog card for each book. We spent hours sorting through thousands of cards in huge trays to get the same information you can now print out from the internet in about 3 seconds. Research reports from then and now could be the same, but you will not have to work as hard as I did to gather information. This book will give you that same type of light speed leap. With the tools and practices in this book, you will not have to work as hard as those who have gone before you. So let's get going. What is the history of Merkaba and what are its origins? This is a big question. I offer what I have learned in the years of immersing myself in the Merkaba as an instructor and practitioner. Translated literally from the Hebrew, the noun Merkaba means chariot to ride in, and relates to the throne chariot of God in prophetic visions. A likeness of a man drives the chariot. The Merkaba as we mean it here is a body of light or light body. It is activated from a geometric field that exists around the body. Everyone has this field around them, as do planets, solar systems, and other living entities. This means learning it is a remembering experience for humans. Once you have remembered the Merkaba, you choose to activate it daily until it becomes permanent. Do not worry, it will. The spinning of counter-rotating fields is found throughout the cosmos. This spinning is an accurate reflection of nature. In the Zohar, the mystical commentary on the Judaic Torah, there is a reference to the Merkaba and the four wheels spinning without turning. So I believe the information we have today is both ancient and accurate, and was already known at some level long before the Merkaba became available to all of humanity. The Merkaba is mentioned in the Old Testament in Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 10. The actual throne on its chariot goes back to the first chapter of Ezekiel and his vision of a throne of glory that is a source of centuries-old mystical and visionary traditions. Some versions do not use the word Merkaba when referring to the vehicle seen by Ezekiel, but it most certainly was this chariot that Ezekiel saw. According to a later tradition found in the Zohar, written by the Spanish Kabbalist Moses de Leon, the vision of Ezekiel was a flying vehicle. Personally, I have always interpreted the Merkaba as a flying vehicle that you build by yourself for yourself. I believe that all who have had knowledge of this either knew or assumed that it was meant for humanity at some point. In the verse noted above, Ezekiel is commanded to ingest part of it. I now know it to be a fifth-dimensional garment that we remember and activate. It is not necessary to acquire it, since it is already there. It is from the future of a more advanced version of us. This, combined with the Christ consciousness grid around the earth, ensures our ascension. For simplicity's sake, let us understand that our ascension is becoming a perfected human, or in spiritual terms, the ascended master you. *2. This could be compared with purchasing an annuity for your child's college tuition. You then teach him good study habits and pay his way in advance so that if he is a diligent student, his ability to graduate is assured. All versions of the Merkaba in the sacred literature contain references to angels. Modern usage of this word is simply Merkaba. This is important for a number of reasons. Drunvalo always referred to the two angels who taught it to him and how to implement it. Throughout my life, Archangel Michael has always been with me, especially as an instructor of the Merkaba. He clearly came through during the writing of this book and identified himself as the original sponsor of the Merkaba in the dedication. The Jewish Gnostics' first known document, the Sefer Yetzirah, Book of Creation, lists the Merkaba as one of the elements, others being virtues, or Sephirot, the 10 emanations in Kabbalah, and notes its relation to the letters of the Hebrew alphabet and the cosmogonies and anthropogonies, theories of the origin of the universe and human origins. What are these elements? I think of an element as being a construction piece of a set used for the construction of the universe. I believe the Merkaba being listed as one of the elements means it is part of the basic set of construction materials of the universe. It also means the Merkaba is the basic structure found around everything. This is why it is so significant. It is why remembering and activating it changes lives and improves every other spiritual practice you may follow. According to Spanish mystics, the entire vision, including the orbits of the planets and the entire solar system, is properly called the Merkaba, or Chariot of God. This resonates with the photograph of the Sombrero Galaxy, 30 million light-years distant, as the popular depiction of the Merkaba. In addition, one of the sections of the Kabbalah, which deals with the arts and sciences of those planes under the heavens, is also called the Merkaba. Ultimately, the Merkaba is related to the Book of Revelation, the final book of the New Testament. It is a vehicle supported and drawn by cherubim, which is also the throne and that still small voice, with which God manifested himself to Elijah. Perhaps this is the higher self of today's language. Confusing? Yes, this is why Drunvalo said it is a vehicle, yet it could be anything. For sure it is a manifestation field, because it truly is a fifth-dimensional garment that, when remembered and activated, enables the wearer to accomplish that which was not previously possible. Historical data. As I understand it, this throne, chariot was a central subject of meditation in both ancient and medieval Jewish esotericism and mysticism, but the guardians of rabbinic orthodoxy tended to discourage such speculation and study. In the Mishnah, which embodies the oral tradition of Jewish law, it is even suggested that no wise man share the knowledge of the Merkaba with someone less knowledgeable. 3. This may be why there is very little written. I share this constraint as I, too, have come to understand how very powerful it is. Proceed with caution and reverence. This book will not teach the Merkaba that you must learn from other sources, such as my video seminar. This is for supplemental work. I do know that it is a remarkable system to activate. I can attest to the differences it can produce for you and within you. I have worked with it personally since 1994 and know for certain it is a valid way to connect with the entire reality as well as one's divine self. It is remarkable beyond anything I have ever encountered. It does not interfere with any other spiritual practice, rather, it elevates everything else you may do. In the Dead Sea Scrolls we find a text that adds significance to what has been handed down through history. I have included it in its entirety below. The ministers of the glorious face in the abode of the gods of knowledge fall down before him, and the cherubim utter blessings. And as they rise up, there is a divine small voice and a loud praise. There is a divine small voice as they fold their wings. The cherubim bless the image of the throne chariot, Merkava, above the firmament, and they praise the majesty of the fiery firmament beneath the seat of his glory. And between the turning wheels, angels of holiness come and go, as it were a fiery vision of most holy spirits, and about them flow seeming rivulets of fire, like gleaming bronze, a radiance of many gorgeous colors, of marvelous pigment magnificently mingled. The spirits of the living God move perpetually with the glory of the wonderful chariot. The small voice of blessing accompanies the tumult as they depart, and on the part of their return they worship the Holy One. Ascending they rise marvelously, settling, they stay still. The sound of joyful praise is silenced, and there is a small voice of blessing in all the camp of God. And a voice of praise resounds from the midst of all their divisions in worship. And each one in his place, all their numbered ones sing hymns of praise. Why was a combination of methods chosen from Hindu, Egyptian, Hebrew, Tibetan, and other traditions for the original 17-breath meditation? Some mistakenly believe that each religion's tradition is unique. I believe this concept is a myth. Here is why. The more we know about world religions and the evolution of spiritual thought, the more we see the previous cosmologies emerging from the existing ones, producing common threads appearing everywhere. Most religions draw from elements of their predecessors. An example in our known traditions includes Christianity. Research shows Christianity borrowed from the Hebrew tradition and interpreted it, as well as the ancient religion of Mithraism. Many elements of the Hebrew tradition borrow their cosmologies from earlier traditions. Much of the Hebrew tradition is identical to ancient Egyptian tradition. For example, some sections of the Book of Solomon were copied verbatim from an ancient text written by the Egyptian sage Amenemope. Research into Amenemope shows that he borrowed from a far older work called the Wisdom of Ptahhotep, which dates some 2,000 years before the time of King Solomon. Out of the hundreds of mudras, how and why were these chosen? There are mudras, or meditative hand gestures, to accompany each of the 17 breaths. Part 1, the first 6 breaths. The mudras for the first 6 breaths are related to the meridians in the body that move through the fingers. There are 6 meridians, one is not on the fingers and is a redundant one. Also, the number 6 is directly related to the 6 external points of the star tetrahedron, or divine light body. There are actually 8 points of the Merkaba as you work your way around the star tetrahedrons, but 2 reside in the axis points and get cleared each time you pulse. It is possible to repeat the same mudras and breaths up to 8 if you wish, but those numbered 1 through 6 are all that is necessary. Part 2, breaths 7 to 13. For breaths 7 through 14, the mudra of your thumb and first 2 fingers is a balance of male, female, and neutral. See figure 1.1. One of the goals of those breaths is to bring you into full balance. This includes every aspect of you coming into balance with yourself and within yourself. Figure 1.1. This mudra connects the thumb and first 2 fingers to balance male, female, and neutral. Part 3, breath 14. The last mudra, used from breath 14 onward, balances either male or female, depending on what is needed for the individual. See figure 1.2. Each person selects one or the other position. This mudra places the right hand on top or the left hand on top. Most men have the left hand on top and most women have the right hand on top, but yours could be the reverse. The right hand on top adds male energy to the field. The left hand on top adds female energy. Women usually need more male energy and vice versa. When one does not identify with their gonads, it could be reversed. Figure 1.2. The mudra for breath 14 balances male and female as needed. The alternate mudra for breath 14. This mudra is formed by placing the fingertips of one hand inside the spaces between the other hand's fingers. See figure 1.3. Below, you'll need to remove any rings from your fingers in order to do it properly. The way to know if you are doing it correctly is to stand at a sink, with your fingers touching the skin between each finger, not sticking out either toward the palms or back of the hands, and see if you can carry water. No leaks means you have done it correctly. The mudra allows for both male and female energy at the same time. Using this mudra, if you can carry water without dripping, you've got it right. Figure 1.3. The alternate mudra for breath 14 allows for both male and female energy at the same time. A good place to contact your higher self is after breath 14. You can find steps for developing your higher self contact here. This mudra was given to me by my higher self. I seriously questioned why I would be shown something that did not comply with what Drunvalo had taught me. When we were all together in a facilitator gathering in 2001, I showed Drunvalo this alternate mudra. He instantly turned to the whole group and said, "Hey gang, from now on you can do this as an alternate mudra for breath 14 and beyond." The Merkaba is like a car. The Merkaba is a vehicle, so it may be thought of like a car. In phase 1, the first 6 breaths, you are taking the car in for detailing. The phase 2 set of breaths, from breath 7 to breath 13, is like your car's 75,000-mile tune-up. Phase 3, breath 14, is putting gas in your car. Breath 15, in phase 4, is turning on the ignition. Breath 16 is putting your car in gear, and breath 17 is stepping on the gas. The last 3 breaths. In my travels to teach the Merkaba, I was invited to Ithaca by a particle beam accelerator operator employed by Cornell University. A particle beam accelerator is a complex machine that uses electromagnetic fields to propel charged particles at near light speed, while containing them in confined beams. This gentleman took me on a tour of the lab, and what I learned there put a capstone on the Merkaba information for me. I found proofs at that particle beam accelerator lab. The job of a particle beam accelerator is to accelerate and amplify the energy of a beam of particles. I learned during my lab tour that when an electron strays from its home rotational field, its speed is 1/3 the speed of light. Likewise, when you turn on the Merkaba at breath 15, you do not yet have a complete system, which is why the rotational speed is 1/3 the speed of light, the same speed as an electron that is temporarily homeless. Breath 15 is the activation of the starred tetrahedrons, 2 nested tetrahedrons, around you that move in opposite directions at equal speed. Remember, these 3 starred tetrahedrons are part of the bigger system that is put in place in the earlier parts of the meditation. How much does the speed increase? The rotation automatically jumps to 1/3 the speed of light. Your intention to start the motor increases the speed to 1/3 of light speed. At breath 16 you are activating the ratio 34/21. Drunvalo says that this specific ratio reflects the exact location or overtone on the 3rd dimension where we reside. DNA is measured in angstroms. An angstrom is 1/10 billionth of a meter, so small that you cannot see it with the naked eye. What we now know from DNA photography is that there are certain DNA strands that measure 34 angstroms between the long grooves and 21 angstroms between the short grooves. Even something as minuscule as the measurement of DNA gives us this exact proportion. Can it be an accident that this occurs? Hardly. This is why I'm always appalled at anyone who suggests we change the Merkaba activation codes or has already attempted to do so. These activation codes are directly related to the physical body and our evolution process, and they are reconfirmed by science. Anyone attempting to create a Merkaba with Kabbalistic numbers or master numbers, energetic numerology-based numbers, totally misses this point. Although those number sets, master numbers or Kabbalistic numbers, may be sacred, they are not directly related to the body and will not work. In some cases they may cause great damage. Do not change the Merkaba activation codes to some other numbers. You could become physically or mentally ill, or worse. Breath 17 activates the relationship to 9/10 the speed of light. The mental body star tetrahedron is the only one spinning at 9/10 the speed of light. The emotional body star tetrahedron is spinning at 9/10 the speed of light, c, divided by 34/21. 1.619047619004. That means the emotional body star tetrahedron is spinning at 0.760857 the speed of light, that is, slower. That ratio, 9/10 the speed of light, is the exact same speed that electrons move around the nucleus of an atom. Why is this important? It shows that the relationship you are creating is sacred and found in all of nature. At what velocity are the physicists accelerating the particles in their accelerator lab in Ithaca? You guessed it, 0.9. The speed of light. Why would they choose that speed? I believe it is because they are looking for information that helps define the differences found at the quantum level, subatomic, and the physical matter reality of the world in which we live. That is one of the biggest questions of quantum mechanics. How is it possible that the real visible world appears to be so vastly different than the quantum, subatomic, level? How will you know if your Merkaba is permanent? Answer. Ask your higher self. Any other method to determine this answer is inferior. No amount of research or feedback will be able to verify that your Merkaba is permanent. Some have said, I will feel it when it is there all the time. Yes, well, what if you are one of those individuals who do not consciously feel the Merkaba? Well, I will feel it if it goes inactive, is a common reply. My response is that not everyone has the ability to sense the Merkaba this way. All sensing is inferior to knowing. Knowing comes from the higher self, as it requires no proof. In chapters 4 and 5 you will learn a precise protocol on how to connect to your higher self with 100% accuracy. Activating your Merkaba on a daily basis will go a long way toward achieving a permanent Merkaba. Purple cones coming off the Merkaba. If you watch the old Drunvalo Merkaba videos as many times as I have, I estimate more than 600 times, you start to see things nobody else has seen. So many insights and so much information has come to me while watching them. Much of the content of this book is based on my being in incredible alpha to theta states while watching. One thing he points out, yet never explains, is the purple cones that appear in the emulating software that he wrote and used in his workshop videos. One day those purple cones spoke to me and showed me where they originated. Begin by extending a line from the edges of each of the tetrahedrons into the air. The easiest way to see this is to tape skewer sticks to the edge of a cardboard Merkaba 4 and then spin it, imagining that there is one spinning around you to the right, emotional body star tetrahedron, and one to the left, mental body star tetrahedron, around a stationary one. At once you will see the very same cones that Drunvalo's software emulated. It produced cones that appear to be slightly off-center. Upon closer examination, you will see that they are secondary rotational fields created from the edge of the star tetrahedron field. A car's four-cylinder engine will create a secondary counter-rotating field within the engine's cradle, called the engine's harmonics. Anyone who has worked on an older car uses a strobe timing light to balance this and keep it in harmonic resonance. In the same way, the Merkaba's secondary field is creating harmonic resonance that stabilizes and harmonizes everything within it. My request to you: everything in this book is offered to you with specific steps in mind, in a specific sequence. Since 1995 I have worked to develop, understand, and teach these recommended steps. These instructions are not to be taken lightly. Many of you are so hungry for this knowledge you may be tempted to skip ahead and find what you think is the good stuff, and think you will achieve the results you desire. Just like a bodybuilder knows well that you cannot fake it, nor can you race it or reduce the effort it takes to achieve results, please know that only your authentic effort will enable you to achieve the results you seek. If you are sincere and truly desire to build a Merkaba that will enable you to know what you need to know, see what you need to see, or be where you need to be, then follow the practice offered in this book and you will amaze even yourself. You will discover incredible results while building an authentic connection to your higher self that will steer you in times of chaos, and much, much more. The Merkaba is a marvelous manifestation tool. I have been studying the art of manifestation since the 1970s. I have absolute conviction that the use of the Merkaba as an aid to manifestation, to advancing humanity toward its ascension, is greater than anything I have ever encountered. Without it, I would not have been able to achieve all the things I have accomplished since 1994, when I started working with it. I am greatly indebted to those who have gone before me, worked with the knowledge, and made it available to the masses. It is my pleasure to support your practice with new knowledge that will enhance what you have already unraveled. Everything you need to be fully connected to our reality is in this book. When Drunvalo first brought forth the Merkaba teaching, he thought everyone would intuitively understand what to do next with the Merkaba. I think there is a reason for this, and I believe part of the reason is hidden within the mission of the Christ Consciousness Grid. The Christ Consciousness Grid is covered extensively in Chapter 13 of this book. Breath 18. To those of you who think you found the 18th breath and have attempted to use it, I wish you well. It is an elusive matter. The more you chase it, the more hidden it is. Seek instead to achieve ascension by following the steps of this process. Some of you will master the steps faster than others. That is okay. Skipping the steps is not a good idea. The 18th breath will find you when you are ready. Step by step. Steps to knowing your higher self can be found here. Remember that the Merkaba is alive. You will learn how to create your own programs that are in harmony with the universe. It is not enough to know how to program your Merkaba. You must know what you wish to accomplish, and you must learn and understand that miscreations can happen. It is your responsibility to do everything in your power to maximize your understanding to prevent unnecessary miscreations. One way to ensure you are in harmony is to carefully follow the instructions contained in this book. First and foremost, develop your higher self connection to 100% accuracy. Then whenever you wish to create something, as taught later in this book, you will ask your higher self, is it in my highest and best good? Is it in the highest and best good of those who would be affected by my actions? In this way you will avoid miscreations. The purpose of this material is the elevation of humanity. I believe that sharing this knowledge will help many more individuals. I have had countless experiences working with the Merkaba and workshop participants. I have discovered the ensuing group consciousness brings in new information. I have kept meticulous journals for years, and hope to share with you a small sampling of what can occur, what has already occurred, and how you can capitalize on the experiences of those who have gone before you. Drugs and other stimulants, some very important information. The sacred gifts from Mother Earth are forbidden without the use of an elder shaman who is initiating you. It is never appropriate to do any type of earthly mind-altering drugs even if they are from Mother Earth. The knowledge of these mind-altering drugs came to us through the shamans and must never be self-administered. The shamans who work with these are trained for years, and they prepare for years to lead and perform hours and hours of cleansing ceremony to maintain a sacred space around them and the people with whom they are working at the time. When they do this work, they are able to anchor in a sacred space for themselves and those with whom they are working. They are creating space around you and your group, and very often pray and hold ceremony for hours in advance. You, individually, have no authority, no permission from Mother Earth or right to use these mind, body, health-altering substances without the specific permission that must be gained from an elder or council of elders who can initiate you and hold the space for you. These substances would never be used for recreational purposes and never, never, never used on a regular basis. Even when they are administered, it is always as initiatory experiences to jumpstart your connection with the divine. These substances alter who you are. Used sparingly, within the Mayan, African, or Native American traditions, they may hold some merit. If you are taking these earthly substances, you are largely flirting with danger, and I urge you to find a way to let go of your addiction and stop using. Even if you do not think you have an addiction, if you cannot stop, you know. The Merkaba is from the future and is far more advanced than the present time. Because it is from the future, a future version of a greatly evolved you, and an appropriate vehicle of ascension, its use is not only approved but recommended. Some have attempted to compare the Merkaba to a drug, in as far as its ability to assist you with your ascension is irrational. There is no comparison. They are not even in the same league. One student commented, referring to these mind-altering substances, they can bring one into a heightened level of awareness and will even bring you to the heavens we could only dream about. It lets you experience these beautiful things. And now I wonder why you are suggesting we are not permitted to use them. It is almost like by denying Mother Earth's gifts, we are denying ourselves of our true potential. These tools from Mother Earth were never meant to be a crutch to take away your willingness, desire, passion, and persistence to earn the ability to achieve this heightened awareness on your own, without this crutch. If you play a game of cards and find that with an ace or two up your sleeve you can always win, do you think it appropriate or acceptable to continue to use it so that you can always win? Is your goal to learn to play cards well or to win at any cost? Is your goal to achieve your ascension or to go for an ascension-like ride that may or may not crash and burn? Changing the Merkaba meditation. I am continually amazed at the people who have arbitrarily changed the Merkaba meditation. There are dozens of stories about individuals who have taken the teaching that Drunvalo brought forth and amended it to suit their purposes. You may have heard of them. Please practice discernment if someone tells you that another version of the Merkaba is better or more correct. There is a 5D Merkaba, as taught in my book Waking Up in 5D. But this is intended to supplement the activated original 17-breath Merkaba. I know of Merkaba teachers, none certified by full, who have changed certain elements of the Merkaba. In every instance, no one has been able to demonstrate that these amendments have improved the original Merkaba, nor have they helped individuals with their ascension work. Furthermore, as previously discussed, the formula for an activated Merkaba is validated by what we know about nature found in scientific fact. If you have a question that relates to this, I strongly urge you to reach out to me, perhaps I can assist. Because of the extensive number of individuals wishing to amend the Merkaba, I will not attempt to rebut them all. I will, however, address specific questions. You can email me at info@maureenstgermain.com. Make no mistake, the Merkaba has evolved since it was first presented by Drunvalo. This is discussed at length later in this book. However, these changes were directly related to the simplification of the meditation as it became a more tangible part of our reality. What about the violet flame? In one instance a woman wrote that the violet flame of the legendary spiritual master Saint Germain was necessary to clear the energy of the earth. At around the same time a number of individuals picked up this thought form telling me that they had decided to change the meditation and not send the energy through the point of the earth tetrahedron. It was as if someone were projecting the thought that the clearing work in the first part of the Merkaba was dangerous to the earth. Nothing could be further from the truth. The violet flame is a marvelous tool and may be useful to augment the Merkaba, but it is not part of the Merkaba. The violet flame is a dispensation from Saint Germain and the Great White Brotherhood 5 for mankind, to give humanity a lift and an edge to get past our karmic situations. The Merkaba is also a gift, an advanced fifth-dimensional tool, but its nature is different from the violet flame. The more capable we are of connecting with unconditional love, the easier it is for Mother Earth to feel our love. To that end the violet flame is extremely useful. It is entirely appropriate to gown yourself, your family, and friends with the violet flame. It will help you to transmute your fear and judgment, enabling you to be a happier, holier you. I have invoked the violet flame daily since the 1980s with incredible results and wonderful stories to tell about it. Assuming you need it to amend the Merkaba implies that Mother Earth is not capable of resolving your clearing. Please do not judge the energies you are releasing into the earth. Mother Earth may be using and recycling what we send to her. There is a South American tradition that explains that our garbage sent directly to Mother Earth is fuel for her. In a modern adaptation of this idea, in the classic film Back to the Future garbage was used for fuel in the DeLorean auto. Our discarded energy is recycled by Mother Earth and used appropriately. The violet flame transmutes human suffering and expression so that we can feel our connection with God, but you do not need to imbue the Merkaba with the violet flame. The Merkaba is about God identity, so it is already fully connected to God. The violet flame is also for the transmutation of karma. It is a wonderful tool to assist us in getting to the fifth dimension, but the Merkaba is already a fifth-dimensional vehicle. Using the violet flame to fix the Merkaba just does not make sense. It does not need improvement. Mother Earth and Father Sky are healed by our love and not our judgment. Can you travel in the Merkaba? Traveling with the Merkaba does not mean moving from one planet to another, but much more. It is moving within a global energy field that does not belong to time and space but works as a kind of geometric reference for outer manifestation. Once understood, it allows complete freedom to move about in consciousness. This means the Merkaba puts you perfectly in touch with the third-dimensional and fifth-dimensional reality in such a way that you always know what you need to know when you need to know it. And it supports you to manifest easily. A new source of information and a guide appears. In 2004, I was given a message by my guides to contact an astrologer, Marilyn, for a message. Marilyn is not in the business of messages, so she was surprised she was being asked to serve as messenger. She checked in with her guides to receive a surprising message. Maureen is being given access to a dimension that had been closed to humanity for millions of years. She is being given a permanent guide who will be with Maureen for the rest of her life. The remainder of the message was for my personal guidance and so is not shared here, as much of it was personal in nature. In addition, it led me to the understanding that it is my job to work with knowledge and my privilege to be the conduit. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your interest, because without that, there is no message. Who should teach the Merkaba? At one time it was said that even though you could find the meditation on the internet and in Drunvalo's books, he believed that learning the Merkaba correctly on your own was nearly impossible. Initially he thought his instructions were enough, and that people would follow them. Later he realized that people misunderstood instructions and decided to pull back a little, asking students to work with facilitators. Today learning it is much easier since it is in human consciousness, and there are now enough people doing this meditation correctly that it will self-correct. I am continually amazed at the number of people who communicate with me to tell me that a friend of theirs taught them the Merkaba meditation or that they learned it from Drunvalo's book. The true nature of a mystery school is to study something until you have integrated the knowledge. This way you can impart the information you received after you have moved from the initiate phase. The ancient teachings are based on an oral tradition that requires an initiate to absorb, repeat, and relay the teachings hundreds or more times while the teacher observes and makes sure the understanding is clear. This tradition also ascertains that the student can express those teachings in a clear and concise manner. In your own mind you may believe you clearly understand what you have learned, but there is no way of confirming this knowledge without your extensive investment of time and effort. Further, on your own you have no way to know if you have the ability to translate that knowledge into words that are understandable to the listener, whoever that might be. The mantle of the teacher. Wearing the mantle of the teacher is a powerful and significant responsibility. It is only bestowed upon persons who have gone through many initiations to prove their worth and their willingness to be students of Source. Here is a question I received regarding this issue. I practice Merkaba daily with your CD. I have come to understand why we cannot teach somebody else. The person has to be ready for this big jump to next consciousness, and they are only ready if they pay for it. Am I wrong? Answer. You are wrong. It is not about money, it is about commitment. A person who does not pay, with light, money, is not committed. There are ways a person can demonstrate commitment, one of which is money. It is not the only way. This book contains advanced material. Students who are called to study with me are a gift to me, as are the students who follow after them. You are enabling me to bring forth material of a highly evolved nature. Your presence enables me to transmit the material and work with individuals at an advanced level. Those who choose to learn from my words are present because they are ready and able to receive material of an advanced nature. The entire planet is getting ready to receive this, and many already have. Without this knowledge base that acts as a source code, information could be imparted in a way that could cause misunderstanding and misinformation. Let the reader be aware. Why participate in the Merkaba training? Since there are no more facilitators actively teaching the Merkaba in a Flower of Life workshop, your way to learn the meditation is from a recording made of a live workshop. You will understand this complex meditation and activate your Merkaba in a video that is a total of 4 hours for the condensed version, or about 15 hours if you opt for the full version. You may choose to meet with like-minded people, create a community event, learn heart-opening exercises, and practice the Merkaba until you get it right. Even though the trainings are not live or in person, it is preferable to watch a video rather than simply learning the Merkaba from a book. The written instructions have often been misunderstood, so it is recommended that you try to watch the videos available. Here is one example of the perils of teaching yourself. A brilliant, gifted, and well-educated healer working in the medical field as a nurse practitioner had taught herself the Merkaba through Drunvalo's book, but was doing it incorrectly. Her boyfriend, I will call him Richard, had the ability to see interdimensionally. Richard could see that something was drastically wrong with her field, and knew intuitively that it could be dangerous. Even though he had no personal interest in attending a Flower of Life workshop himself, he begged her to stop doing this practice and learn it correctly from a licensed facilitator in a proper workshop. Fortunately, I learned of this experience when the nurse practitioner attended a class with me. She told me her story, found her mistake, and corrected it. In another example, a self-taught person who signed up for an Akashic Records reading from me asked her Akashic Records guides in her session why she had not seen any progress, even though she had been doing the Merkaba for more than a year. It turns out that she also was doing it completely incorrectly. She was fortunate that she did not do any damage to herself. 2. New tools for learning and practicing unconditional love. What you will learn in this chapter. Getting into your heart. How to get help from the Hathors. Rewriting the script of past hurts. How to move from forgiveness to gratitude. Specific tools for opening to self-love and replacing the judgment in your heart. Dealing with a blow to the heart. Unconditional love is changing the planet. You and I are part of the massive change occurring everywhere. This section is probably the most important element of the Merkaba practice. Everyone knows how important it is, and we are learning to pay attention to how we can become unconditionally loving. Our governments will catch up. Mother Earth is healed by your love, not your tears. Daily practice and opening your heart. Drunvalo says without the heart connection your Merkaba will not go anywhere or even be effective. However, I have really good news for you. In spite of everything, if all you do is the Merkaba, your heart will open. You cannot continue to activate your Merkaba daily, getting all the elements of yourself in perfect balance, without opening your heart. In other words, activating your Merkaba will result in opening your heart. What this means is that you could close this book right now. I know you won't do that, and I would like to tell you a very poignant story related to this. A number of years ago I started receiving phone calls from the wives of men who studied with me in various Flower of Life classes. It was usually about 3 to 6 months later. Each wife would identify who she was and then invite me to come to teach the class in their home. It happened so frequently I knew I was being shown something. The conversation was always the same. My husband has changed so much since taking the course from you. I want what he got. The daily practice of the scientifically geared, logical practice of Merkaba will open your heart, regardless of what else you do. It is amazingly profound to know this. It makes me think of working with a personal trainer who promises to help you make your body perfect if you give her 5 minutes a day. What could be easier? Learning the meditation takes 4 focused hours in a Merkaba workshop. Practicing it takes no more than 5 minutes daily. This is not a big investment for the results you will achieve that will be with you for the rest of your life. I know you are eager to make progress and take your Merkaba practice to the next level, so if you've already learned the Merkaba and quit before it became permanent, it is never too late to start anew. Begin today by adding it to your daily practice. The most important element of the Merkaba is unconditional love. Unconditional love is the rocket fuel. The level of unconditional love you have is directly related to your performance. Can you imagine making an investment on a great sports car and not being able to get gas? This will power your meditation the way high-octane gasoline improves a car's performance. The benefits of developing your connection to your heart and unconditional love are enormous. Take a stroll with me through the toning section and the exercises that will support your advanced Merkaba practice. You'll be very glad you did. Accessing the unconditional love energy of the Hathors is an instant solution to hardness of heart, anger, resentment, or any other thing that stands in the way of an open heart. Working with the Hathors. The Hathors are interdimensional galactic beings already anchored in this dimension by virtue of their 5th dimensional presence on Venus. It is not just one whole race, they are a species. The Hathors are the most intelligent, most advanced race of enlightened beings in our solar system, more advanced than the dolphins. They represent only peace and love, and communicate through singing or toning, not spoken words. Not all Egyptians could see the Hathors, but the artists who depicted the Hathors were able to experience them and create the beautiful sculptures we still see today. Many were defaced by early Christians, so finding an undamaged statue is a challenge, but it doesn't seem to matter. Tom Kenyon and Virginia Essene have written extensively about the Hathors in their book The Hathor Material. How the Hathors work with us. The Hathors work with the Ankh, the hieroglyphic symbol of life, using uninterrupted circular breathing and toning. 3 separate but continuous tones can take someone directly through ascension. Toning with the Hathors and others worldwide has given us an enormous body of knowledge. They have worked for me giving initiations and assisting others with their Hathor communication. They are willing and able to assist you with your heart opening, but remember, we are in a free will zone, so it is up to you to ask for their help. Expecting them to help you will not bring their help, you must seek it. Figure 2.1. The ancient Egyptian goddess Hathor, Venusian goddess of unconditional love, crossed boundaries between worlds. It is widely believed that Sanat Kumara, ancient of days who came to Earth to help bring Earth out of her darkest hour, invited the Hathors, who also resided on Venus. C by Saw. In toning we find that individuals experience more than one voice coming through their vocal cords. There are often additional sounds similar to what can be heard in recordings of Tibetan monks performing overtone singing. Joining the Hathors in toning is quite the experience, as you will learn. One place you can hear their toning is on my Merkaba 2 CD. It was recorded with Hathor toning in the background, to elevate your Merkaba experience and support you in opening your heart to the level of the Hathors. When you are feeling particularly unloving, as most of us do from time to time, simply ask the Hathors to send their electronic presence to overshadow you. For example, when you must deal with someone toward whom you do not feel loving, the Hathors can help you. Their mastery will provide you with the perfect template of unconditional love. Stay open to the energy. Stay open to the way the Hathors manifest their energy to you. My first experience with them was as feline energy. However, when I conversed with a woman who had lived in Egypt for 10 years, she corrected me, telling me they were bovine. I could not understand why I felt so strongly that they were feline. I felt stupid, but could not shake the feeling I had when I first experienced them. I decided it was a simple mistake and not to worry about it. On September 11, 2001, I was given a direct message from the Hathors. In meditation, I kept asking, what is going on? What is the meaning of all this? I was told, Sekhmet. I had never heard this word before and wondered if it was a word at all. I found a local church service that I could join with in praying for the families of the 9/11 disaster. We prayed. Then each of us felt the need to tell our stories. I waited. Finally, no one had anything else to say, and I shared the information I had received. One woman knew about the Egyptian gods and goddesses and told our assembled group that Sekhmet was the goddess of war and of healing. I then searched through all the books I could find to learn about Sekhmet. Sekhmet's legend, found in the tomb of Tutankhamun, tells us that Sekhmet emerged out of the eye of Ra, the sun god, whom some consider the one true god. Sekhmet was sent by Ra to straighten out an errant mankind, and got carried away. Thoth was called in to put a spell on her and turned her into Bastet, the cat goddess, goddess of war and healing, so feline energy made perfect sense. I was vindicated. I believe many of us experience the Hathor energy as feline. If you have trouble experiencing the Hathors as bovine, which is one way the goddess is depicted, you are not alone. It is okay to experience them the way they feel to you. What to ask? Remember that the Hathors hold the flame of absolute love and live on the planet Venus. They can be present on Earth at our behest. Their primary communication is through singing. If you ever hear your name being sung to you as if the sound is coming through water, you are hearing the sounds of the Hathors. There is a warble and waver in the sound, and it may be audible only to you. Their tones can also be found in the warble of your own voice when they overshadow your toning. You can make a practice of toning to develop their presence. Practice your toning and ask them to join you, lead you, embrace you, and love you. Ask for their vibration of love to embrace you and all with whom you interact. Ask them to become one with your heart. Ask them to overshadow you while you are dealing with a difficult situation. It is their joy to serve in this way. Learn more about the Hathors in the next chapter on toning. The I love you exercise. A writing and speaking exercise to open your heart. Some of us are so left-brained that we struggle mightily to get past our logical thinking and into our hearts with sound. The following exercise will allow you to get past your internal gatekeeper. It will assist you in retraining your subconscious mind to discover who you really are, allow you to accept your divine origins and perfection, and assist you in becoming truly open in your heart. As this occurs, you will experience a changed self-view. It will empower you to love yourself and, as a result, become at one with your heart. Your whole being, body, mind, and spirit will quite literally start to resonate at the heart. You will learn to trust your heart and yourself, and to trust others and open your heart to them. As in the game of dominoes, in changing only one thing you change the world. Begin by writing statements you have heard from those closest to you, such as mother, father, siblings, life partners, or children, then moving on to friends and coworkers. Write a full page, minimum, of all the wonderful things that have been said to you by people who have cherished you. For some people, a beloved friend, even one who is not a part of your present life, may have said the most complimentary things. If this is the case, you might prefer to start there. Another option would be to begin with your current beloved or treasured memory of a significant other, parent, best friend, son, daughter, or grandchild. You may want to simply start with the most recent loving statement that you remember. Give yourself permission to look at yourself from the other person's perspective. If you are able, you might connect at the soul level with each person, or at least some of them, and then you may be able to hear them telling you exactly how they love you. Write these statements in the present tense, even if the friend or family member is no longer in your life. It will look like this: your name, you are so lovable. Keep moving in an outward circle to the various people and energies in your life and see them experiencing you with a joyous heart, expressing their gratitude for knowing you and for the gifts you bring to the relationship, family, friendship, and world. Make sure you include Mother Earth and Father Sky. You might hear Mother Earth express her gratitude to you for helping to keep the earth clean, for example. Listen to Mother Earth speaking to you with gratitude for all you do for her. Hear Father Sky giving you compliments for who you are and the joy you bring to the earth, the care you take to assist with the environment, and other things you do to support the ecosystem. Now think about improvements. How can you become a better person? If you are lacking in something, and every one of us is, then allow the voice of one loving person who is observing you to speak to you with kindness, to remind you that you are growing in that area, and to support you in becoming the perfect you. Then name something, whatever you choose, to no longer be an obstacle in your world. You might write something like, "Every day I am surrounded by people who help me to perfect me in the most loving and joyous way. When I need a reminder to be patient, it allows me to appreciate someone else's presence in my world, and it helps me to grow and learn." Another example might be, "When I forget important details, it gives others the opportunity to see how important they are in interacting with me. When I graciously receive their reminders, they feel important, loved, and appreciated by me. This, in turn, teaches me to be more attentive to details, for which I am grateful. I have found that my willingness to learn, adjust, and laugh at myself makes it possible for me to evolve." Let yourself feel gratitude to the universe for the abundance of people in your world who help you with that aspect. Clearing the residue of an abusive, unloving parent. You are about to learn a very specific technique for clearing your subconscious of all the old programming of anything less than unconditional love. I developed this tool based on years of sales experience when I needed to counter objections by potential buyers. It occurred to me that a person could answer and clear inner objections in the same way. This is a technique that will slip by your internal gatekeeper and allow the new statement to be seeded into your subconscious. Begin with a typical but milder version of a hurtful or critical statement that was spoken to you. What did that person say to you? Then follow it with, "But now," and write a new script for that same critical statement. For example, if your mother always criticized the way you dressed, you would write the following script. Your name: I used to criticize the way you dressed and question your taste in clothes, but now I see you have beautiful taste and are always well put together, and I am so proud of you. If you experienced a hypercritical parent who thought you could do nothing right, you might write, "Your name: when you were younger I always said you could not do anything, but now I see clearly that you can do anything you put your mind to, and I am so proud of you." Each time you will rewrite the script in a very precise way. If you could put words in the critic's mouth, what would you like to hear from that person? As you rewrite the script of the people you wished had loved you unconditionally, make sure you examine the statements so that they contain the following elements. A clear reference to before, I used to think or say. Followed by the derogatory statement, maybe a milder version. Followed by, but now I can see. Ending with a statement that is completely unconditional and supportive. This is to be scripted whether the person might say it or not, and whether or not the person is still living. You are the scriptwriter and have authority to put words in this person's mouth. You are claiming your right to rewrite your past programming into a pattern that reflects who you really are. Remember, before you begin writing this part you must understand and follow a specific method to ensure the clearing of the old criticisms. Start with the people you really care about who have not treated you the way you'd like, and go from there. Make sure you write it in the following way. Michelle, when you were a child I was always critical and mean, but now I can see that as an adult you are super talented, hardworking, and loving. I love you. I am so proud of the woman you are. Always write the first part of the statement in the past tense. Use phrases like, when you were, or, I used to think that, followed by, but now, and then the reframe. This is a technique that will slip by your internal gatekeeper and allow the new statement to be seated in your subconscious. If you are unsure of your statements, please ask a trusted friend to examine them. Some of you may have been so strongly programmed in early childhood that your reframes might be conditional. You do not want to accidentally replace those old statements with new ones that are still unloving and conditional. The original statement is typical of the way that person spoke to you, which will enable your statement to navigate beyond your subconscious gatekeeper. The but now erases it from your subconscious, replacing it with a seed thought that creates unlimited possibilities and is free of all self-hatred. This works on your subconscious in a very subtle way that allows you to feel truly loved and lovable. You do not need to write why the person said those painful words. In fact, it is counterproductive to write the why because it takes you back into a place of judgment and rationalization. None of that matters. When you are completing a fifth-dimensional reframe, like this, polarity doesn't matter. You do not care why the person did it. Knowing the real reason will not make any sense to you anyway. At some point you might even be in a place where you will no longer need to forgive anyone for anything. If you find this exercise difficult, it means you need it. Ask for help from a trusted friend who can help you see how special you are and how much you are appreciated, and can help you rewrite statements from your childhood that were hurtful. Sometimes it takes an objective loving friend to see your statements in a light that will expose the misuse of the spoken word, help you reframe the statements, and catch something you were blind to due to your experience with a less than loving parent. Review your statements and make sure that after each, but now, everything that follows is loving and positive. Record your, I love you, statements. Once you have written the exercise, recording it should be easy. It is important that you record this right away after writing it, so have your recording device at the ready. Do not delay. If you don't have a recorder you probably have a cell phone or answering machine. Use that. No excuses. If you have no other option, you can always call yourself leaving a message on your voicemail. This one exercise will so transform your inner you that you will become a magical being, far more loving than you ever knew was possible. Trust me, this is amazing. When you record yourself, imagine you are your higher self, the loving being who sees you from all vantage points and knows your true, beloved essence. This is God in you, speaking to you, in your voice, loving you. Pick a quiet spot, preferably with a comfortable chair and light. Test your equipment. Play some nice background music. Remember, you are loved and are lovable. Practice reading it once or twice without recording it. Get familiar with the words you've written. Let yourself feel the love others have for you. Think of someone you love. That will help you open your heart. As you are speaking from the aspect of the higher self, you are addressing yourself as the child, but also the adult. Speak to yourself the way you would like others to speak to you. Speak with gentleness and softness, clarity, and great love. Speak with joy. You are now ready to record. Speak the words of, I love you, addressing you. Record it in its entirety, both the positive feedback and the reframe statements. Revisit your recording in a few days to consider making some changes. You may want to consider rewriting and re-recording it. You may remember more people who have said loving statements you can include. You may want to change or reword what you wrote. You may want to add or change background music. Then play it back to yourself every day and night for 45 days. You may repeat again anytime and as often as needed. Write in today's date, _. Write the date you will be completed with this exercise the first time, 45 days from when you start it, _. This targets your completion date when you know you will be transformed. You will become one with your heart. You will become one with the love you wish to send out to the world. Remember, before you can completely love anyone else unconditionally, you must learn to love yourself unconditionally. This single exercise will do more to help you transform your past than any other thing you can do for yourself. Please do not procrastinate. You will be able to move mountains from this practice. None of what I will give you in this book as information will be as personally powerful as the exercise of playing the I love you recording to yourself for 45 or more days. You will find it extremely useful when you've had a particularly bad day, where you may be yelling at someone or feeling very judgmental. In my personal experience as a single parent with 4 sons, sometimes I was pushed to the max. On the occasions that I felt my tone was too harsh, or whenever I experienced a particularly frustrating day, I discovered playing this self-made recording allowed me to find my heart center. It helped me to stop hating myself for not being a perfect parent, and to become more open-hearted with not just my children but everyone I encountered. All my students relate that they have radically changed after doing this practice for a month. I know you're hungry for the knowledge and that you really want to know more, but please believe me when I say this exercise and the one following will advance your ascension work significantly. Self-forgiveness. This next exercise is deceptively easy. Doing this exercise immediately following the previous exercise should be spectacular. The first time you do this, stand in front of a mirror. Hug yourself. Look at yourself with love. You might imagine that you are looking at yourself as a child, your child, for indeed, your body is your creation. Just for a moment forget your flaws in loving acceptance. Say, I forgive you for all the times you let me down. I know we agreed beforehand to experience all these things together in order to learn. Thank you for your willingness and courage. I love and appreciate you for all that you are. Say, I accept the love from God as it flows through my entire body, into every organ, nerve, bone, and cell. I let this high-frequency energy nurture me from the inside out, replacing dense resistance with joy and light. Take some time, relax and enjoy it. Feel the sureness of renewed energy and well-being. Know that this inner peace is a gift you can give yourself at any time. By doing this exercise you will gain a powerful ally in your ascension. Forgiveness exercise. This amazing exercise has been around for a long time. My sister Chris told me about it originally. I've used this process many times, and I have some amazing things to report about it. Starting today and every day for 45 days, write out the names of everyone you need to forgive. Set your goal completion date 45 days from now on your calendar to make it easier to remember. List the names of individuals you need to forgive. Then write one of the following statements, or something similar that feels right to you. I forgive anyone I think has harmed me in this or any lifetime, anywhere, on any plane. I forgive all debts and erase all karma. I choose light for myself and for all my selves. You do not need full names for these people, just a way to identify them. For example, the woman who cut me off in traffic yesterday is sufficient. Nor do you need to write why you think the person did what she did. Just as in the previous exercise, it would be counterproductive because you would be reverting to a place of judgment and rationalization. None of that matters. When you are completing a fifth-dimensional reframe like this, polarity does not matter. You and I do not care why they did it. Knowing the real reason will not make any sense to you anyway. Even the Course in Miracles says forgiveness is unnecessary. If you forget to do this written exercise one day and remember that you forgot, just pick up where you stopped. If you forget that you forgot, you are done. After you have completed this exercise, the following statement will make so much sense to you. This was written by a participant just a week or so after learning the Merkaba. I am on day 4 of the forgiveness exercise. I am listing not only people but events and actions. I find that 90% of all the stuff I need to forgive has to do with only myself. Most of my list is a version of, I forgive myself for. What I am realizing is that most if not all of my stuff around being wronged has everything to do with my filters, perceptions, and journey, and nothing to do with others or what I perceived they had done to me according to my reality at the time. I believe that this clarity is due to the work. Ancestral clearing. It doesn't matter whether or not you believe your ancestors have anything to do with you and your current experience. Most of us can readily recognize that our culture is the result of the expressions of previous generations and their evolution to the present. Why not consider, then, that your ancestors may be influencing who you are today? In his book Karma and Reincarnation, Dr. Hiroshi Motoyama, then head priest of the Shinto-derived religion Tomamitsu Jinja, made this profound statement. The parent-child connection manifests as one link in a long chain of ancestral karma that stretches back through time. Your link to your family allows you to be born into that specific line. It is a link that needs to be understood and respected. In this modern scientific age, it is very difficult for people to accept the fact that they are responsible to their ancestors, that they are actually liable for the actions of their ancestors if the resulting karma has not yet been dissolved. Many find it absurd to think that the actions of an unknown ancestor could possibly have anything to do with what is happening to them today. But time and time again, when investigating someone's issues, I find problems that stretch back generations. Their spirit is not just an individual entity, it is also part of the family spirit that births and nurtures it. The next exercise comes to us from a wonderful teacher, Tony Stubbs, who encourages us to take this step for ourselves. It is called an ancestral clearing and it is a powerful tool. Speak this aloud to yourself. I now rescind any and all vows that I have taken to experience the illusion of unconsciousness. As light-bearer of my genetic lineage, I break these vows for myself and for all of my ancestors. I declare these vows null and void in this incarnation, and all of our incarnations across time and space, parallel realities, parallel universes, alternate realities, alternate universes, all planetary systems, all source systems, and all dimensions. I ask for release of all crystals, devices, thought forms, emotions, matrices, veils, cellular memory, pictures of reality, genetic limitation, and death, now. Under the law of grace and by the decree of victory. By the decree of victory. By the decree of victory. As Spirit wills, I ask for awakening. As Spirit wills, we are awake. In the beginning, I am that I am. Bereshit, Ehya Ishur Ehya. Remember that all the exercises and clearing we do enable us to more easily and fully open our hearts to unconditional love. The Phoenix Cards. One of the most effective exercises I recommend uses a deck of cards and book called the Phoenix Cards. It is a powerful deck and anthropological study that is quite remarkable. Susan Shepard, author of the Phoenix Cards, tells us that at death our brain cells die and memory is wiped out, causing our memory to need to be rejuvenated in a subsequent lifetime. Why don't we remember our past lives? I believe we deliberately forget so that we can believe we can do better. The brain is merely a tool that accesses our memory and displays it to us, and there are many ways to access this memory. Once we develop a skill in one life, we may be able to recall it in some later life. Although you may hear from some teachers that the Akashic records are in your DNA, that is only the local part of the Akashic records. The record keepers tell us to imagine a public library. The main branch is where the Akashic records reside, in the 11th dimension. Though you may also find what you are looking for in a local branch. 6. Everyone who uses the Phoenix Cards during my classes experiences a powerful shift. They will provide you with a past life reading of yourself. Understanding your past lives from an anthropological point of view will enrich your self-understanding. It can make such a remarkable validation for you about 3 things. Who you are now, who you have been in the past, and who you authentically are. You can instantly let go of old patterns that you did not realize were not your true self. If you have the resources, please find this book and deck and work with them. Expect a blow to the heart. As you move into mastery, expect a blow to the heart. What is a blow to the heart? It is an emotional experience that will occur as a result of some unexpected behavior. It typically will occur because someone you are in relationship with does something, or fails to do something, yet you feel the person knew the correct action and should have made a different choice. The blow will come from someone you love and will occur around some real issue. When you are in relationship with someone who disappoints you over something you think the person should know or understand, it hurts. I call this a blow to the heart. This occurs as a result of your close interaction with your dear friend or beloved. Only someone this close has the ability to give you this transformational upgrade. In one instance, a woman I will call Michelle disappoints her friend Karen by canceling for an event they had planned on attending together. Karen would have driven an hour each way to visit Michelle and attend the event with her. However, Michelle canceled with the excuse that she is buying a house. However, since Michelle is shopping for a house, not closing the sale on a house, Karen thought she certainly could have found a way to fit the 2-hour evening into her schedule. When Michelle canceled, she didn't offer the tickets to Karen, but announced she had sold them to a third party. Karen was extremely disappointed at not being able to see her friend and was hurt that Michelle did not offer her the tickets but sold them to someone else without consulting her. When confronted, Michelle couldn't see that she had done anything inappropriate. Nor did she think she had disregarded Karen's feelings. Karen has just suffered a blow to the heart. We all have layers and layers of armor around our hearts, and we add new layers every time we get hurt. This is how we survive. This is normal for all of us as we move from childhood to adulthood. We spend the first 30 years of our lives getting settled into our bodies, building up the ego and the armor around the heart. We spend the remainder of our lives trying to undo this process. Most of the armor building is done by the ego, which interprets reality and helps us perceive what is safe and not safe. The ego has done a terrific job of keeping us safe so far and believes these protections are necessary, but the ego is not always accurate. In another instance, a woman's husband totally demolished their family van. When I arrived to meet with them, the wife, I will call her Sally, broke down in tears. She confided that her husband, Harry, had totaled the van. I could see Harry standing a short distance behind her and could not imagine what was worth all the sobbing. I asked, "Is Harry okay?" She assured me he was fine. "Did you have insurance?" "Oh yes," she said, "the accident is completely covered by insurance." I was puzzled by the degree of emotion and the information I was getting, so I checked in with my higher self and was told to stay in the moment, without an opinion, and that we were to go inside, hear the rest of the story, and do the Merkaba meditation. The rest of the story is that Harry was texting when he ran the car into a tree. I still didn't understand why his wife was so extremely upset and looking to me for support. In the larger scheme of things, I was aware of specific marital issues they had. Sally had just suffered a blow to the heart. Without any opinion about the situation from me, we began the Merkaba meditation. When we reached the heart, at breath 14, I asked Sally to ask her higher self what she should do. She had a well-developed connection to her higher self, a skill you will learn in chapters 4 and 5, and thus was able to ask specific questions and get precise answers. Sally's higher self told her, you could forgive him. That hadn't occurred to her. She'd been so stuck in her justified anger that she couldn't get beyond it to see that this incident was a tool for opening the heart. When I asked my higher self what was going on here, my higher self instructed me that it was a blow to the heart. This was the first time I'd heard this term. Many clients have been told by their record keepers, through me, this is a blow to the heart. I now understand that we all get these opportunities to break down the layers of armor around the heart. It is faster than just about any process, and it forces us to choose. Will I be forgiving and open my heart? Or will I be stubborn and insist I'm wounded? Being right doesn't always serve us. Forgiving him does not mean she ignores hurtful behavior. It means she recognizes this is his problem, not hers. She allows the blow to expand her heart, giving him room to change or exit. We all know people who have been through tough time after tough time and are now bitter and angry. We also know people who have been through hell and back, yet seem to find a way to keep smiling. How could you refuse a blow to the heart knowing it is going to give you what you really want, an open, clear channel to your higher self and an open heart? I hope you'll remember these stories so that when you experience a blow to the heart you can decide to open your heart even more and become closer and closer with your higher self. Remember that this is a tool to advance your spiritual connections quickly. Always ask your higher self for help, and ask the higher self of the other person to talk or intervene on your behalf, to help smooth over difficulties between you and to help you stay in your power. A blow to the heart, Ascension Rocket Fuel. The heart is the translator for higher self information. The more open your heart is, the clearer the incoming information will be. It is in your best interest to stay open and work through blows to the heart so that you can advance in your understanding of what your higher self has in store for you. Love is the fuel. Your higher self needs your open heart's love, fuel, to understand and interpret the information coming in through the Merkaba and higher self. You are capable of higher and higher expressions of unconditional love. Rocket fuel contains higher octane to produce jet propulsion, just as your love quotient increases your ability to move and understand the third dimension reality we live in. Love is the basis for the fifth dimension reality that is our goal. Give yourself the blessing of opening your heart every chance you get. What you desire is a level of unconditional love that enables clear communication from the fifth dimension higher self. When you are learning a foreign language you have the opportunity to make a big leap by visiting the country that speaks your new language. When you take a blow to the heart you achieve a similar leap. Your heart breaks off a layer of armor and you get to choose to remain exposed and more loving or close down and become hard-hearted. The choice is yours. You may not understand this at first, but it has become abundantly clear to me that the opening of the heart is the key. Nothing will give you what you desire more than an open heart. The keys to the kingdom for all of us are hidden within a blow to the heart. Fortunately, the blows to the heart get easier and easier. The time I had the wrong key to a friend's apartment in the Bronx after a morning jog in early October was easier to accept than I'd like to admit. I was due in Manhattan in 2 hours, I hadn't showered or brushed my hair or teeth, I was wearing a t-shirt and shorts with a hole in them, and the key didn't work. Imagine my initial response. I just will not go, to finally begging for $2 from a stranger to get a one-way subway fare and going in my worn workout clothes. If you've ever been in class with me you know I take my professional appearance seriously, so it was a very big deal for me to go to teach a class this way. When I returned to my friend's apartment later that night he was cross with me. At first I thought it was because my returning for my luggage meant he'd had to cancel his plans for an evening of dancing. Then when I checked in with my higher self I was reminded, he is a nice man and it bothered him a lot that he'd let me down this way. The upshot was that after I had dealt with my own feelings, I had to deal with his feelings of failure for giving me the wrong key. The knowledge that it had been a blow to the heart made it possible for me to remain calm and joyous, and to tell myself that it was not at all about inconsiderate behavior, but a chance to open my heart even more. I hope you'll remember my tale and laugh about me when your higher self informs you that the reason for someone else's awful behavior is a blow to the heart. This laughter will help you open your heart, and believe me, you will need that little laugh to help you get through it. The other person might not own her part. Remember the story of Karen and Michelle? Michelle didn't believe she had caused any pain or was a party to the blow to her friend's heart. Sometimes the other person can't understand how you feel, and it is okay to confront your friends. However, if she denies her part you must let it go and choose to accept this blow while maintaining your open heart. That means you do not press for an apology. You have let your feelings be known. Let that be enough. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not suggesting you accept inappropriate behavior from anyone. You certainly have the right to confront the person who administers this blow, to say you were hurt and ask that this not happen again. However, if the offending person does not seem to have any idea that the wound was extraordinary, the incident may just be an instrument for your heart opening. You can decide to let it go and open your heart. It is a choice. You should never accept the same inappropriate behavior from someone consistently. If the same friend does the same type of thing more than twice, her status gets downgraded to acquaintance. We let our loved ones and friends help and teach us by administering a blow to the heart, but if it becomes abuse, we need to walk away. Releasing your attachment to being wronged by a friend, again I am not referring to a perpetrator here, will assist you greatly here. You know you were wronged, that is useful to know. Next decide that the other person's mission for you has succeeded, that helping you gain a quantum heart opening is accomplished. Allow your feelings to turn to quiet observation and gratitude. You release the other person, which completely changes the energy. A blow to the heart is a significant tool to advance your ascension work. Capitalize on it whenever it is offered to you and you will be amazed at the incredible progress you will make. Bliss after a blow. You can expect bliss to arrive after a blow to the heart. This is a combination of both joy and peace, and usually feels euphoric. It is temporary and may last a few minutes or hours. My first bliss experience was the result of clearing a huge block, letting go of something I knew I needed to release but had been unable to do. I asked for a million ascended master surgeons to work on me to release from me every obstacle that was keeping me locked in that behavior. I went to bed and forgot about the request. What occurred next was amazing. At about noon the following day I was sitting at my kitchen table and I felt as if a huge weight were being physically lifted off my shoulders. It was the kind of weight you are so used to that you don't even know it is there until it's released. I immediately went into a state of bliss, stayed in this amazing high for about 3 days non-stop, then gradually dipped back into real life, then bliss, then real life, then bliss, until little by little the bliss highs were less and less intense until there was nothing left. It could be visualized as a decreasing sine wave. Since then I have experienced bliss many times, but usually it is for shorter periods of time than that first one. I have also been able to recreate bliss and bring in a state of bliss with a homeopathic remedy. I first learned of this remedy from naturopath Eileen Naumann, DHM, who used it for sinus issues. She later described its use for bliss, which I found to be accurate. More recently, I created the guided meditation, activating your sixth sense, the golden bowl, which actually opens the sinus cavities to higher consciousness. What is the remedy? Aurum metallicum, common name, gold. Dosage? That is up to you. Remember, the higher the number on the homeopathic, the more dilute the potency, the stronger it is, and the more subtle it is. A client took a very strong dose and did have an undesirable reaction. Eileen suggests you ask your trained homeopath, and I agree. At some point you may have declared, I will do whatever it takes to get me connected with my life purpose. And by the way, I want this to happen now. You may have been asking for something that required more unconditional love than you were at that time able to channel through your body. Maybe you had beliefs and attachments that weren't serving you. Your request would have enveloped much of what you would release and gain. Much loss is associated with pain. When a child outgrows his childhood toys, does he cry for them? Only if it is not his idea to let them go. If you move too quickly you may find that your job, spouse, friends, and career all change abruptly, and even though you say you are ready to do whatever it takes, perhaps you're not. Ready or not, a blow to the heart will give you advancement after advancement in your spiritual connection with your own higher self and with God. It is worth it. Why doesn't Merkaba protect me from a blow to the heart? The Merkaba provides an opportunity to receive a blow to the heart and keep an open heart. The Merkaba field is completely impenetrable, yet those who are close to you can reach your heart through your emotional body. This allows for your heart to be opened in this way. The Merkaba provides a completely secure environment for the heart opening and staying open, thus allowing for a greater river of unconditional love to flow through you. Painful? Yes. Perfect? For your emergence to fifth dimension from third dimension, yes. Even when the strike to your heart is so deep and searing that you wail with agony, know that your activated Merkaba will be the secure environment for your heart to stay open and create a greater pathway of unconditional love to flow through you. Like a volcanic crater that blows open, your heart may feel as if there is a huge wound. Yet with the Merkaba in place you can heal all of this pain in an instant. How do you do this? When you are ready, acknowledge the other person has done the job well. This acknowledgement need only be in your own thought. Be clear that that person's whole purpose was to help you get to this state of openness. That will release the charge that keeps you and the other person locked and frees you from your pain. Other ways to release emotional wounds include Aero Mandala's Orion Series Essential Oil Blends and the Intention Disc from Vibrance, both available through my website. Choose to keep your heart open after a blow to the heart and watch your unconditional love rise and grow beyond anything you thought possible. 3. Toning, chants, and exercises to open your heart. What you will learn in this chapter. Sound exercises to heal the heart and clear emotional wounds. Role of the four lower bodies and the elements. Powerful chants for different functions. Restoring our connection with nature. Toning. Toning is singing a specific set of sounds, sometimes specific words, and is usually repeated, which produces a certain vibration of resonance. This resonance will enable you to change your thoughts. It happens at a vibration level rather than a thought level. Because the chant's vibrations are repeated waves, their resonance within the body causes the change. Toning should be part of your regular spiritual practice. Just as you periodically get an oil change for your car and periodically go for bodywork, finding time to incorporate toning into your spiritual life is good for your evolution, general health and well-being, and spirit. It will assist you in your ascension work. Key factors of toning. Toning creates the rarefied state of instant fulfillment. This means that toning makes us pure simply by vibrating a pure tone through our bodies, which produces instant connection with all that is. Much like the concept of resonance, items that vibrate produce clarity in the vehicle of vibration and cause objects nearby to resonate with them. Imagine listening to an orchestra warming up for a performance. You hear the flute or oboe play followed by string and wind instruments all playing the same note, and then playing it again, till it is exactly the same pitch. That tuning is similar to what toning does in your body. It allows your body to tune to the sounds that are being given or sung. Many healers use toning as a tool to heal and move energy in their patients. A healer may play a toning recording in the background while working on a patient. The patient may be invited to participate or to simply accept the vibration. You may have heard of tuning forks being used for this purpose. Motivational speaker and author Wayne Dyer, now deceased, tells of the Tibetans who gave him the knowledge of the sound of God. In his book Getting in the Gap, Making Conscious Contact with God Through Meditation, the book that accompanies his manifesting CD, he tells of chanting the sound of God, in the morning for at least 20 minutes. The sound of God, is to be sounded in the evening for at least 20 minutes. If a note is missing in your energy field, playing it on an instrument or reproducing it through the voice allows your body to replicate the missing vibration.